Welcome to another edition of Livestream. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz, joining you in Honolulu, Hawaii. Today we go to South Africa and listen to Mr. Omar Arakat. He's the Vice President of Commercial Aircraft for the Boeing Corporation. He's giving us his input in regards to Africa and the challenges the aviation industry and specifically Boeing has in times of COVID and the situation in Africa when it comes to tourism and connectivity. Welcome, Mr. Omar Arakat, moderated by Dr. Talib Rifai, patron of the organization and former Secretary General of the UNWTO.
In continuation of this, now travel facilitation is being very important. We have with us Mr. Omar Arakat, Vice President of Commercial Aircraft, Boeing Corporation. Boeing, we know you're an airline manufacturer, you're not an operator, but you have a lot of responsibility to do here, renting airlines, aircrafts, and supporting airlines. So can you just very simply say, what is Boeing doing to support airlines and growth of aviation industry in Africa? We know aviation industry in Africa had a problem even prior to COVID-19. Mr. Omar, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Do you hear me, Dr. Rifai?
Please, yes, I hear you, sir. Could you go ahead, please?
Well, let me start by saying thank you, and also a big thank you to the African Tourism Board for having Boeing be part of this forum. It is indeed a great pleasure and honor for us to be here this evening, especially joined by the honorable ministers and the other distinguished members of this panel. So thanks again. And as you mentioned, Dr. Rifai, I would like to emphasize on what is critical for us to keep and continue doing to support the growth of the air transport section in Africa. And as such, everybody here probably knows that air transport in Africa has a lot of untapped growth potential. And we at Boeing have been and will continue, of course, to work with airlines, the regulators, financial institutions, and other various constituents that impact the industry to collaborate and find solutions that would enable this growth potential to be realized. So, and I believe it was the International Air Transport Association's Regional Vice President for Africa who recently mentioned that, of course, air transport is at the core of travel and tourism value chain in Africa, and it actually supports the livelihood of about 24 million people. And this represents roughly 7% of the GDP, which shows that the importance of this sector and the importance to prioritize it for growth. So at Boeing, we couldn't agree more with Dr. Al-Bakri, and this is why we are focused in our support on four main areas that would continue a sustainable growth of this important sector in Africa. Now, I would like to just briefly touch on these four areas that stand at the core of any strategy fueling growth. So Boeing has and will continue to place a lot of emphasis on safety because first and foremost, we believe that safety needs to be at the core of any successful strategy. And we have been actively working with our operators in Africa to help improve their safety performance. And we're doing it by sharing the best techniques and practices and processes from around the industry. We are also contributing to the safety initiatives through different forums, such as the Regional Aviation Safety Group. We also help our customers navigate and consult them on the best processes to follow that demonstrates the highest safety standards to allow them to have access to key markets that are important for their growth, such as the US and the European Union. And I think you would all agree that targeting and continuously supporting a high standard for safety has to be the priority that we all collectively focus on to guarantee a winning strategy. The second important area I'd like to cover here is supporting and continuing to support open skies and how liberalization in this area is critical for the growth we're talking about. So records show that Africans currently travel by air at 1/6 the rate of the global average. And as you know, this is due to certain multiple factors, but also as a result of relatively high airfares and protectionist policies adopted by some African states. And so far, we know that about 34 countries have signed the single African aviation transport market, but we believe that more needs to be done on this front. Because liberalizing airspace, increasing competition, and offering Africans more choices for air travel, I think will bring greater connectivity, will also increase employment opportunities, and will greatly contribute to the sustainable development of African aviation, and of course, impacting greatly the tourism sector. So, and now we undoubtedly understand and realize that the pandemic and its impact on the economy and projected economic recession will result in a sharp contraction of traffic for 2020, as we have been experiencing so far. But overall, we will likely, and it will overall likely last for a couple of years. However, we firmly believe that air travel will recover, and we should be prepared for when that comeback happens and takes place, that our efforts are put in the right place to make sure that the growth is not hindered by any actions, that we are set to support and continue to support the right and put the right actions in place to support fueling that growth. The third item is financing, and this is another critical area where Boeing has been working hard to address this requirement, which is critical for the growth of any sector in any market. And African airlines regularly face higher premiums and more challenges in terms of when seeking financing, especially for fleet renewal or growth. So this one is one of the biggest hurdles in the way of development for the aviation industry, and is largely driven by financiers' perception of the airline industry in Africa. And it is usually associated with a lot of risk, which has now been further aggravated by the pandemic. So we need to work together to make sure that this is being addressed. Also in the area of financing, we hope that more countries could work jointly together on initiatives that help facilitate more financing in the continent, such as ratifying the Cape Town Convention Treaty, which is one of the best tools for facilitating aviation credit. And right now, only about 16 of the 54 countries have signed up for it. And finally, we need to continue the development
16,
of human capital.
Omar, you said only 16?
16 out of
One six.
only 16 out of 54, correct. 16 out of 54 have signed up for it. That's correct.
Okay.
And the final area we want to cover and put emphasis on is the continuation of development of human capital. That would be, it means it's going to be really key to Africa's future. And this is especially true in our sector, the aviation sector. And, as Boeing, we are proud to say that we have a long history in supporting our customers' training and development needs in the continent. And of course, we have done this, and we recognize that there is a lot more to be done. But we've also done this in a variety of ways, such as training, specific tasks to our customers, and working with nonprofit organizations. We worked on providing internships and establishing we've already established the African Aviation Industry Group, which brings stakeholders together to address key issues that have been outlined. So with that, again, we recognize that the pandemic is something that is impacting every sector, especially the aviation sector and the tourism sector. But we believe that, we must persevere, and we will, be able to get to a turnaround and hopefully put things back on track. And it's going to take a collective effort from all partners in order to make sure that we get out of this stronger than ever.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arakat. Thank you so much, Omar. Thank you. We're only
I hope you enjoyed our segment from the second ministerial roundtable of the African Tourism Board, recorded yesterday on September 2nd. and we hope to see you again soon. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz, livestream.travel in Honolulu.